Another terrifying poisoning case out in Brazil. Police say that a teenager is dead after eating a dessert delivered to her door alongside love notes. This isn't the first time that we've seen stories of deadly poisonings coming out of the country. And it seems, unfortunately, this likely won't be the last. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. One 17-year-old is dead and another is under arrest after an alleged murder confession. This all allegedly happened May 30th in a town north of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And according to multiple reports from Latin American media outlets, the girl and her alleged killer, they had been friends. The sister of the victim, identified as Ana Luiza de Oliveira Neves, reportedly opened the door to find a motorcycle courier delivering a dessert from a local cake shop. And when Ana herself returned home, she saw the cake, was excited about the gift, but also the accompanying note, which read in Portuguese, "A gift for the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." So, thinking it was from, a secret admirer, the outlet El Heraldo reports that Ana sent a voice message to a WhatsApp group of friends saying she'd received this surprise, that she was super curious to know who it was from. And according to reporting from the Mirror, soon after eating some of the dessert, Ana started to get really, really sick. Her father, Silvio, took her to the hospital where they diagnosed her with food poisoning, gave her some fluids before sending her back home overnight. But the Mirror reports that later that day, on June 1st, Ana collapsed in her bathroom. She was rushed back to the emergency room, but El Heraldo reports that she went into cardiac arrest and couldn't be saved. Ana's sister told Silvio about the unexpected cake delivery and the police got involved. And not long after, they identified another 17-year-old who hasn't been named publicly yet as the one involved in sending Ana the dessert. The Mirror reports that the teen initially denied having any part in Ana's death, but apparently, after hours of interrogation, she eventually confessed to purchasing the cake and lacing it with arsenic before it was delivered. She said she bought the arsenic online for about $11 US. This is according to the Daily Mail. And get this, according to the civil police of Sao Paulo, the suspect actually had a sleepover at Ana's house on the night when the poison first started to take hold. The Mirror says Silvio told the police and media, quote, "That girl stayed over at her house. She saw the whole thing unfold. She saw Ana Luiza getting sick, saw me taking her to the hospital, and the next day, she watched my daughter collapse in the bathroom and didn't show any reaction at all." And if that's not enough, the teen also reportedly confessed to poisoning another teen with arsenic 2 weeks prior. Now, that victim, who is a classmate of the suspects named Camille, allegedly got very sick but survived, has fully recovered. This is according to the Daily Mail. And police say the suspect reportedly targeted Camille because she had blamed her for breakups with 2 different boyfriends. So the Mirror reports that Camille also received a similar note with her delivery. She never contacted the police to make a report, but despite that, you can see how this evidence of a pattern is really, really important in this case. And as news about Ana's death spread, some people zeroed in on the cake shop called Menina Trufa. So the shop's owner posted a video on Instagram explaining that while the cake had been purchased from her store, it wasn't delivered by her delivery staff. So how did police manage to track this unnamed suspect down? Well, according to the Daily Mail, they used surveillance camera footage to identify the license plate of the motorcycle that the courier service used. And when police spoke with the driver, he was able to identify the suspect and her address where he picked up the allegedly deadly delivery. So you're seeing all the different parts of this case fitting together. And according to CNN Brazil, the teen suspect told police she, quote, did not intend to have greater bad things happen, and that she hoped that they just would feel bad symptoms such as vomiting. So there might be a little bit of a translation issue, but get the general idea of what she allegedly said. And CNN reports that when the teen was told that Ana had died, she was shocked. So to talk about this very, very disturbing story, I want to welcome back to the show Adrielli Barca, criminal defense attorney in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thank you so much for taking the time. Good to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
What do you think of the evidence here? Do you think it's strong?
Yes, it's strong evidence. They found the driver that took the cake to her, and he described the girl that sent the cake. And in the end, she ended up confessing that she actually did that and another one before.
How would a defense attorney try to either make sure that evidence doesn't come into court, doesn't come into trial, or are there alternative explanations for what she might have said and did?
Well, Jesse, this case is very different from the ones that we spoke before. In this case, the defendant is a juvenile. She's not 18 yet. And in Brazil, the law states that a juvenile cannot be tried as an adult under any circumstance. So she doesn't go to jury, and this is not treated as a crime, actually. This is treated as an infraction of the statute of children and adolescents. In this case, the defense would be around showing the judge that this adolescent made a mistake and that she's not going to do that again. The society has to be better, has to provide her better education so that she doesn't reiterate this conduct as an adult.
Hey, I just want to call out real quick Upside, our sponsor, who helped make this episode possible. And if you don't know what it is, Upside is great. It is a free app that gets you cash back when you buy daily essentials. I pump my gas, I can use Upside. Go out to lunch, I can use Upside. Maybe I get something at a convenience store, I can use Upside. And why not get cash back when I do all these things, right? This is real, actual cash back. It's money that appears in your Upside app that you transfer right into your bank account. So once you have the free Upside app, you claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. You pay as usual using a debit or credit card. You follow the steps on the app, you get paid. To find out how much you can earn, you click the link in the description to download Upside, or you scan the QR code on screen, and make sure to use our promo code Sidebar because you get an extra 25 cents back on every gallon on your first tank of gas. What is in the juvenile system? Does she still go to trial? How does it work?
Yes, she does go to trial, but it's a private trial. It's not like a jury. It can't be accessed by anybody outside of it. And she could be tried for maximum 3 years for this.
That's the most. That's the most time she could face in prison?
Yes, as an adolescent, yes.
Wow. And who decides the case? A judge?
Juvenile court. It's just a single judge.
Is it different in terms of what the prosecution can do and what the defense can do? How does it differ from an adult criminal trial in Brazil?
It's very different because when you are analyzing a case that involves a child or an adolescent, the statute says that this child and this adolescent has to be protected at all costs. And if they did something that could be tried as a crime, that could be considered a crime, is because they haven't gotten the better education to not do that. So in this case, the penalty has the goal to educate this child better.
And what does that look like? How is the child educated better?
For now, she stays in a place that is very similar to a prison, but it's not actually a prison. They have to go to school, they have courses there, but it's specifically for children and adolescents. She's going to stay there for a maximum 3 years, or whether if she turns 21 before those 3 years after being tried. And when she comes out, she's not considered a criminal at all. She doesn't have a record because this was done as she was a child, as she was an adolescent. So the goal of this is to bring the child to the custody of the state, and then as they are there, they are supposed to be studying and going under psychologists and other types of social care until they come out.
By the way, what could she be charged with? What crime?
Homicide.
Homicide. And even with homicide, only 3 years?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, how long would it take to get back the toxicology results?
It could go from a week to a month.
And
I don't think in this case it's going to take a month because it's in the public eye, so it's very quick.
Would there be any kind of psychological examination that's done on her?
Yes, they're going to make evaluations of her right now as she just got into the custody of the state. And during that time that she is there, if she is actually convicted, per se, that is going to happen every 6 months. The judge has to analyze every 6 months if she still needs to be there. So psychological evaluations are a part of it.
And what does the defense do with that psychological examination? How does that help them?
The defense is going to use this to show that she was going through something or that she needed better care and that she needs to have that care in her home with her family, with doctors, and not exactly in the custody of the state, because you would consider that in custody of the state they would be better off because they're taken care of all the time. But in real life, that's not what's going to happen. To submit this person to private doctors and other types of examination and treatments if needed, it's a lot better for her. So this is what we would use as a defense to benefit her.
Are those psychological evaluations recorded? Would we ever see it?
No.
No.
They are recorded, but we can't access it because any type of trial that involves a child
right.
is extremely private in Brazil. You can't access it under any circumstance.
So even if she's interviewed by police, and that's recorded, that wouldn't be played for anybody? We wouldn't see that?
No, it can't be played.
Interesting. What are your overall thoughts on this story, on this case? This is not the first time you and I have covered a story, unfortunately, that's similar to this. What do you think about it?
I think this is the case of an adolescent that has some deep psychological issues. I know the police that interviewed her said that too, that she appears to have some psychological issues and she needs help because this isn't even the first time that she does this. She confessed to doing this to her friend, to her so-called friend. She was at the funeral even. And she did this before to another person, but they survived, and she confessed that too. So this is something that she has been doing, God knows for how long, and probably would do that again. I believe that this person is somebody who needs help, and maybe with the right treatments, with medicine and everything else that she could to get better, maybe she comes out as an adult that is ready to live a normal life.
This is, as I said, not the first time we've covered a case like this. Is there something going on that there are so many reported cases of people allegedly using poison in food? It's really concerning. What's going on?
Well, I don't think that's the case. Brazil is a very, very big country. It's a continental-sized country. So we have many, many other types of cases involving poison, involving insidious means. It's not really an epidemic, I wouldn't say that yet.
Okay.
But it definitely helps that we had some cases in the media recently. The first one that we discussed, the cake one, was very famous in here, is very spoken about in here. Sometimes people need ideas and they use it.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. Look, it's just a really upsetting case. I'm glad we had an opportunity to talk a little bit more about it. Adrielli Barca, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having.
So, if you're listening to this, and we talked about a little bit with Adrielli, if all of this sounds very, very familiar, you're right. This is, believe it or not, the third time that we have covered alleged murders in Brazil that were reportedly committed by females using arsenic in desserts. Last December, a family gathered in the town of Torre to eat a Christmas cake, similar to a fruit cake. It's a traditional way to celebrate the holiday. But multiple family members ended up getting violently ill. 58-year-old Maida Berenice Flores da Silva, 65-year-old Nusa Silva dos Anjos, and Nusa's daughter, 43-year-old Tatiana dos Anjos, were rushed to the hospital. but their conditions got worse. According to the Daily Mail, Maida and Tatiana both had fatal heart attacks, and Nusa reportedly died of shock on Christmas Eve. Now, Zelly, the woman who had made the cake, was also hospitalized, along with 2 other family members, but they recovered. Brazilian police reportedly found high levels of arsenic in the flour used to make the cake, and arsenic was found in the bodies of the women who died. The investigation soon pointed to Daisy Moro dos Anjos, Zelly's daughter-in-law, as the primary suspect. She was arrested on suspicion of triple homicide and 3 attempted homicides. The police were also investigating whether she may have been involved in the recent death of her father-in-law as well, because at the time, authorities thought he died from food poisoning, but that was called into question when Daisy was arrested. But here's the thing. How did that all shake up? February 13th, she was discovered dead in her prison cell. Authorities suspecting a suicide by hanging. Now, in another strange holiday poisoning plot, a woman was arrested for allegedly sending a dessert laced with poison to the woman dating her ex-boyfriend. And the surprise was delivered, again, by a motorbike courier and had a note, "With love to Miriam Lira, Happy Easter." And after eating some of the dessert, Miriam's son, 7-year-old Luis, almost immediately started having a serious reaction, according to the outlet Globo, and he died the next day. Miriam and her daughter, 13-year-old Evelyn, they were hospitalized. And we now know that after a few days in the hospital, Evelyn also died. The Daily Mail reported in early May that Miriam was still hospitalized. The suspect, identified as 35-year-old Adrielli Barca, was allegedly seen on CCTV purchasing the dessert from a store. And in the video, she's wearing what police say is a wig, as well as large sunglasses, possibly a disguise, possibly an attempt to hide her face from any cameras. The Daily Mail reported more new information from police, which revealed that the dessert was in fact contaminated with rat poison. According to police, Barbosa had traveled from her home in Santa Ynez to Imperatriz, and this is where Miriam lived, and then returned to Santa Ynez after the dessert was delivered. Police caught her getting off the bus, and when they searched her bag, they found several bizarre items, including 2 wigs, 1 blonde, 1 black, scissors, a knife, and small granules of chocolate that investigators believe was used to poison the dessert delivered to Miriam. And Barbosa remains in custody. Just another distressing situation. Sorry to report on it, but again, this is something that we had to make you aware of. I don't know what is going on. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you should get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.